Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you are all having a great day. To start things off, Japanese banking giant known as SBI says it's working to make in-store XRP payments a reality. The company is integrating XRP with its Ripple-powered remittance app called MoneyTap. The app will use QR codes to give people a seamless, instant way to pay for products and services with XRP. SBI says it will test the app at a restaurant in Tokyo before launching the restaurant for retail customers by the end of this year. The app is fully licensed by Japanese regulators and currently uses Ripple's blockchain-based cross-border payment solution XCurrent to power instant remittances between 13 regional banks. SBI is working to roll out MoneyTap to a banking consortium that's led by SBI Ripple Asia, comprised of 61 banks covering more than 80% of all banking assets in Japan. So a bit of a backdrop just to before I kind of even go any further as to exactly what's happening. For those who don't know or maybe are unaware or maybe just have forgotten somewhere along the way, SBI is one of the largest banks in Japan. They are, there's SBI this, there's SBI that. They also just opened up their own cryptocurrency exchange. One of the main things that has been very interesting about SBI since we first heard about them around 2016 is that they are obsessed with Ripple. They love XRP. The head of the SBI bank in Japan, his name is Yoshitaka Katao, has mentioned many times that he loves XRP. He plans on using XRP. We had news in 2017 that in some way XRP was going to be integrated into the SBI bank. Details were kind of fuzzy at that point, and then we started getting a little drops and hints of things that would potentially be happening. And one of the things that was going to happen was that SBI was going to be launching their own cryptocurrency exchange, which I believe is called SBI VC Trades, like venture capital trade. They have their own platform. The other thing that was very interesting that we also had news about at the end of 2017 was that there was a consortium that was built. Pretty much a whole bunch of banks had gotten together under the gaze, if you will, of SBI, 61 banks, that they would be utilizing some of Ripple's products. And now it seems that the way that this is going to be moving, at least for the part that we at least are hearing about, at least right now, is that they're going to be creating an app, something that's going to be used called MoneyTap, where XRP is going to be used. And I assume if this is all happening through the MoneyTap thing with these 61 banks, this could then be potentially the news, I don't know, that Brad Garlinghouse was talking about. Brad Garlinghouse being the CEO of Ripple, who said last year that dozens of banks by the end of this year would be using XRP in some sort of way to be able to settle their money transactions happening. So there are a lot of other places around the world who are also using XRP, but I feel like if it's going to be something of great significance, like 61 banks is a lot, especially if we have information that they're going to be using MoneyTap. MoneyTap uses XCurrent, which also utilizes XRP, going through 61 banks. That's 80% of all banking assets in Japan. It seems like maybe this is where a lot of the news could have been coming from, because there was a lot of 2018 once again was a year where prices were going down, but everyone thought that at some point in 2018 that prices would go back up. And this is why I think that we were receiving an enormous amount of news from the Ripple team and other cryptocurrency projects out there during 2018 in anticipation for prices to kind of go back up, because we also had news from the head of SBI who said that when their cryptocurrency exchange launched, that it would become the #1 in the world. He said in an instant or something like that. But I think the market downturn kind of pushed a lot of people away from even thinking about opening up anything in the cryptocurrency space. So, I mean, I said a little backdrop, but I gave you kind of the entire story. But it makes sense when we're talking about these things, because there are a couple of banks who we know are a lot of banks. Even in India, the Ripple team slipped last year, and they said that they are currently partnered with, I think, over 80 to 90% of all banks in India. And we also got news yesterday that the people from India apparently has their cryptocurrency framework in tow, and apparently has to be just kind of read over by someone and signed, and then it'll be public and go into law, what have you, so and so and so. I'm expecting that Ripple is going to be one of the legal companies within the country, and that XRP is probably going to be one of the legal cryptocurrencies there as well. Also, I mean, the India part is speculation. I can't tell you for certain if that's going to happen. Just kind of, when you're partnered with 80 banks, one would assume you're probably not going to be banned. Anyway, SBI Holdings is one of the biggest banks involved in cryptocurrency. The company built the first bank-owned crypto exchange, there we go, called VC Trade, and recently announced it will work to bring institutional investors to the platform, which offers Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. They said SBI virtual currencies, I guess that's it, currently offers services only for retail customers. After anti-money laundering and CFT and custody solutions that we are planning to implement are finalized, we would like to move forward and start providing services to institutional investors. This is the same. It's kind of backwards, actually. What we had with a lot of companies in the States is that they were only for rich people, and then eventually they plan on opening up the doors to average, everyday, normal people. Japan, they opened it up to normal, everyday people first, and now they're trying to get institutional investors, I assume because of all the money that they have in their pockets. Anyway, very interesting news. This may be one of the reasons why XRP has kind of been moving over the last couple of days, even though other coins, have maybe been going down. Anyway, it's very fascinating. We're at that time. We're in June. July should be when everyone should be making all of their announcements, because, you don't want to really make significant announcements like in December and stuff like that, especially. I mean, I have my own ideas, or rather, I'll put it to you this way. Everyone was talking about that they had big announcements in June and July, so now it seems like the time when they would be releasing all this information, so I'm still hopeful that they have not forgotten that they planned on releasing this type of information. Here's the actual thing right here from SBI Holdings about the Money Tap app. I can't read Japanese, but I still found the article, so I thought that was kind of cool. Yay for me. Next up, here's a really good one. Startups that have conducted ICOs years ago may be eligible for relief from potential enforcement actions by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, an agency official said on Friday. For the last year and a half, the regulator has been filing cases against projects that raised money by selling tokens without registering them as securities. But in his opening remark at the agency's FinTech Forum in Washington, D.C., SEC Director of Corporation Finance, William Hinman said that cryptocurrencies are capable of shifting from being a potential security to very clearly not being one. He said digital assets may evolve into an instrument that no longer needs to be regulated as such. Hinman has made a special point before. In 2018, he implied that Ethereum may have resembled a security during an ICO at its launch. A lot of people don't know that Ethereum was like the first or one of the very first ICOs when they first launched, but said that by last year, it was sufficiently decentralized and that it had evolved away from being a security. Though he did not reference Ethereum on Friday, Hinman did use other examples to illustrate his point. As one such example, he cited Turnkey Jets, which secured a no-action letter earlier this year, reassuring the firm that the SEC staff would not recommend taking enforcement action against it. Hinman explained that the company's token, network, and use case were all fully mature when the latter was issued, meaning the token had a functional use case and the network was fully developed. So, if nothing else, this might be the thing that is the most significant outcome of the actual SEC FinTech Talk Washington, D.C., sitting on a panel talking to each other kind of news. The meeting really didn't go anywhere, and I didn't see this guy actually talking afterwards about the entire thing. This is very important because, one, I didn't see it going this way, and I think it's probably the easiest, scapegoat is not the word that I'm looking for. It's the easiest way for the SEC to kind of give regulation without giving regulation. Part of the problem that we've had over the course of 2017 and 2018 is that the SEC came forward and said, these coins are all securities. They fall under our jurisdiction. We can have control over them, so and so and so. At that point, a lot of cryptocurrency projects, they actually have a lot of lawyers. Go figure, right? Worth a couple $1 billion. They have a couple lawyers. They were talking to the SEC, and apparently a lot of them threatened to sue the SEC for, our coin is clearly not a security, you can't say so. The SEC kind of backed away, and then we had a couple of people within the SEC who kind of came forward and they said, okay, maybe some coins are, maybe not securities. We don't know. We can't really tell. We're going to make up laws and rules and regulations, which they still have not done. And this is part of the reason why there is a bit of a hindrance in the cryptocurrency space within the United States because of the lack of regulation. So my takeaway from this is, is that a large part of the cryptocurrencies that we have out there are probably not going to ever be considered securities if, here's my opinion, if a cryptocurrency project that has a token called Turnkey Jets, that's not me saying anything negative about them, just saying I haven't heard about them, I'm pretty sure you haven't heard about them. If they got a letter from the SEC that said that they're going to take no action because their cryptocurrency that you've never heard of is decentralized and mature enough, it's probably safe to assume that Ether, XRP, Stellar, maybe even Tron, and the whole slew of other coins are probably also not securities or have probably received a letter of no action from the SEC at some point. When I read this, I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then it hit me really fast. I was like, okay, this is probably the method that they're going to take. It's probably going to be a very basic metric as far as like how many nodes you have, how many so-and-so exactly, how centralized your project was before, and exactly where it is right now, how many nodes you have around the world. And this is why I think that it was very interesting that we saw the team from Ripple last year. They had a whole bunch of universities around the world, and I think also some banks who were also running XRP ledger nodes, and I think that was happening on purpose, have it spread completely around the world, because I'm pretty sure if the people from Ripple have people from the SEC on their board of directors, whatever their team, they probably got word first of exactly what to do to be able to make sure that the project was more decentralized. And this is why I think also, my opinion, why I think Charlie Lee probably sold off his coins. He probably had something along the lines of, you can't tell anyone about this, but your coin is probably going to be considered a security. This is one of the only reasons why I can kind of gather in my head while someone would create a cryptocurrency and then sell all of their coins. Kind of just the way that I have kind of put things in my head. Anyway, like I said, the way that I think that they'll move forward is that any new ICOs or any new STOs or any new IEOs that are being released probably more than likely will have to go through the SEC. And it feels like every other, I'm not on the SEC, I can't tell you, but it feels like a large fraction of the ones that we talk about maybe on a daily basis are probably never going to receive a security designation. It would be a lot better if they just came forward and said, hey, this, like just it's so simple. Just one long letter. Name out of the top 50 coins exactly which coins are not securities, and we can all move on from there. It'll be some type of regulatory so people know a little bit more as to exactly what's going on. Anyway, I thought this was very interesting. Good job them for figuring out a way to step around the fire as opposed to walking through it, because I think it's very smart on their part to kind of say, well, if you started out this way and now you look this way, well, then clearly we'll send you a letter and there'll be no action taken against you. I'm fairly certain, because some of the first people and the first companies who were talking about filing lawsuits were Ethereum, and I can't remember the other one. So it's fairly certain, my opinion, at least some of the top 20 are probably completely safe. I don't know about some other ones, and I'm not going to name any names, but when you boast about your coin every single day on Twitter, a little security, like, here's the other thing from the actual, it says, for those who aren't looking at the screen, another article, it says the SEC's first crypto no action letter took 11 months to secure. That is far too long. I'm constantly amazed every single day, and I don't think that I will continue to be amazed, but lo and behold, every single day it's always something brand new. I wonder why it takes the old, I don't want to say the old world, like we're still living in this world, how it can take 11 months to do anything. I feel like in the SEC's office is like 3 people. Like, it's like, is this guy a cat and a plant? Like, is he doing everything by himself that it takes 11 months? You know how easy it is for people within the cryptocurrency space to be able to gauge the metrics of decentralization? It takes about a good 18 hours, if not even that. You can get a good 300 people around the world if Andreas Antonopoulos or Changpeng Zhao put a call to action on Twitter that I need 300 coders so-and-so right now. Tell me, give me the metrics for exactly, the mathematical proportions for decentralization, And if something, so blah, 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 blah. It would take hours. You know how long 11 months is? You know what you can get accomplished in 11 months if you started doing something right? You know how famous you could become in 11 months if you really wanted to become? It's insane how long that they take to do things. And oh my goodness. The point is, they take a very long time to do things. And this is why I think, especially as we, the news that we've been reading over the last week, and especially as we continue this country hop as we go through the rest of the news, that these regulators are always so shocked and they have to keep revising these laws and this paperwork and this so and so because it takes you 11 months to send one letter. It took them almost a year. You know how quickly I can type up 15 pages in about an hour if I had the motivation to do something. Anyway, right, that's that. Took 11 months. That's a long time. Security, let's move on. Next up, the president of the Chamber of Deputies of Brazil has ordered to establish a commission to consider cryptocurrency regulation in the country. This was said by Cointelegraph Brasil just a couple of days ago. The Chamber of Deputies of Brazil is a federal legislative body and the lower house of the National Congress of Brazil, and consists of representatives of the states elected every 4 years. The chamber discusses and approves proposals for economic and social areas such as education, health, transport, and housing. On the 30th of May, the president of the Chamber of Deputies, Deputy Rodrigo Maia, has requested the creation of a special commission to deliver an opinion bill on numbers, which aims to regulate Bitcoin and other digital currencies within Brazil. The commission will be composed of 34 members in accordance with the House Rules of Procedure. The notice also states that the federal deputy Aureo Ribeiro presented two projects in regard to cryptocurrency regulations. Earlier this week, the president of the Brazilian Association of Crypto and Blockchain, ABCB, Fernando Furlan, had a meeting with other representatives of the industry and authorities of the Attorney General's Office, the Central Bank of Brazil, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Financial Activities Control Council. We don't hear about Brazil that often in the cryptocurrency space. I assume that someone has lit a fire under them and they went, hey, there's money to be made. Do you guys want some money? And they're like, yeah, I want some money. So this is why I assume that they're now coming out of the woodworks and doing this as well. So many countries and I was almost said months. It's been years now. Heard nothing about them in the cryptocurrency space. It was usually them threatening a ban. The central bank saying that they didn't like cryptocurrencies, not even banning them outright, but that was enough to usually scare people to not even get into the cryptocurrency space. And now, lo and behold, because prices are going back up, and they probably know that cryptocurrencies aren't going anywhere, they are now trying to establish a committee to start regulating cryptocurrencies. Imagine how different the world would be if governments did this years ago. Luckily for us, it takes them 11 months to write a letter. So I assume by the time we get full worldwide crypto regulations, Bitcoin's going to be around $1 million. And I think at that point, they'll start trying to regulate ICOs and figure out who Changpeng Zhao is. Like, it's just mind boggling. Like, can you imagine, like, if I had been on any panel of something, Congress, Senate, and someone told me there was a digital currency that potentially in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years was going to take over the world, I would go, maybe we should write a law. Maybe we should just write something. Anyway, maybe I have foresight, and maybe that is exactly what a lot of politicians don't have. But anyway, let's move on. Like I said, a country hop. Going to the Bahamas right now. The CEO of transactions firm Nizia in ZIA Limited, his name is J. Joe, says Bahamian tech startups will need to lead the development of the Project Sand Dollar. Okay, it's getting weird. According to a report by the Nassau Guardian on the 31st of May, Project Sand Dollar is an initiative to tokenize the Central Bank of the Bahamas CBOB fiat currency as a central bank digital currency, which is supposed to launch in the Bahamian district of Exuma this year. Joe discussed how he thinks participation from local banks, small and medium-sized enterprises, and entrepreneurs in the central bank digital currency implementation will be crucial to the budding tokens adoption. He also commented on how solutions built by local tech startups will likewise be important in driving the token's mainstream use. He said, we are going to build I thought it said build the heck out of it. We're going to build the back end and we will open up to the front end. What? To allow local entrepreneurs, tech startups whomever to be able to build new products and create new services around central bank digital currencies. We feel that this is going to be a key aspect of really making this thing become a real, living, breathing thing that people engage in. He's very intense with those words. Once again, another country who's trying to... So, to be fair, while this may seem futuristic and like, wow, they're going to have their own digital currency, there have been at least 11 countries, around the world who have announced or noted that they were going to be creating their own digital currency. As of yet, I think Venezuela is the only one, and I think Dubai also has a digital currency, but I don't think it's from their central bank. So, this is probably going to take a long time. I do commend them on understanding where the space is going. And once again, this is also for you guys out there as well, and gals, that it's fairly clear when we have an enormous amount of countries around the world on a daily basis in our news who are trying to create either cryptocurrency regulations or talking about the creation of a central bank digital currency. It's because, after everything, that they're trying to figure out how to take away some of the spotlight from Bitcoin. I don't know exactly how many of these central bank digital currencies are going to exist. Probably not a lot of them, but at least we know that regulators and banks take forever to do things, so we probably won't have many of these rolling out to around 2021, which at that point, I believe Bitcoin is probably going to at least be $100,000. And yeah, let's move on. Another country hop here. G20's international watchdog, the Switzerland-based Financial Stability Board, or the FSB, said in its latest report that regulators need to improve their risk assessment strategies regarding financial activity in the cryptocurrency space. This comes from a report by Reuters on the 31st of May. The report noted that one potential risk assessment metric regulators could look at is banks and other financial entities' degree of exposure to cryptocurrency. The report also added that the FSB does not currently believe that crypto poses a material stability risk to the financial sector. I love hearing stuff like that. I love it. As per the report, existing crypto regulations are somewhat weak, and the fast rate of technological innovation may leave the sector with even more areas of questionable regulation. Of course, crypto assets currently can reportedly fall outside regulators' jurisdictions, due in part to inconsistent standards between countries. China, for instance, has reportedly taken a near-total ban approach to cryptocurrency exchanges, while Japan is attempting to keep cryptocurrency exchanges legal with proper licensure. I love hearing from any financial board, bank, government, institution, I don't care what it is, that crypto does not pose a risk. I love it. It means that they're paying attention to us, but they're not really looking at us. They kind of, they look over every 8 seconds, but they don't really understand the deeper meanings of exactly what's happening in cryptocurrency space. This is great for us as our crypto projects update, get things put on top of them, other layers, other solutions, private transactions. It's absolutely wonderful. This is, I think, fascinating. It goes back to exactly what I was saying a bit earlier in the video, that governments have taken so long to figure out what they wanted to do with cryptocurrencies, thinking that cryptocurrencies weren't a problem or a risk or weren't going to really do anything. Now, in 2019, what it comes down to is that the only way that they're figuring out that they can actually put a lid on it or contain what's happening is to try to get control over cryptocurrency exchanges, ICOs, STOs. You guys all know the story. I am so interested in seeing what the future is going to bring for the cryptocurrency space, mainly as far as more direct control over our money. I think a lot of people who are new to the cryptocurrency space have to take the time out of their day to learn how to control their private keys, how to use cryptocurrency by themselves, to not have to worry about having their money on a cryptocurrency exchange. Having your money on an exchange, while nice and potentially maybe secure, can run into a lot of hiccups. There was a situation in 2017, for those who were not here, or for those who were here, I will refresh you. Cryptocurrency exchanges had a point where prices were going completely insane. People were trying to take their money off of the exchanges and they were not allowed to. Some of the exchanges had not closures, but they were like too many people were on the platform. The platforms couldn't really control it. There's a huge wave right now flowing through the cryptocurrency space as far as like anti-money laundering and know your customer procedures, as far as having to give your name, your number, your address, upload an ID, your blood type. They want your cornea, they want your fingerprints, they want everything for you to be able to take your money off of their platforms. And this is going to become a lot more stringent and a lot more tight, and I think it's going to happen very quick, and a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to it because nothing really happens overnight. I think, it'll be a something that's going to be announced, and eventually platforms that a lot of people are using overnight will have to kind of change these things. And this is, I think, what they're trying to gear themselves toward. I was reading something before, it was talking about not the death of smaller exchanges, but it was kind of like when we have major names, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, blah, 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 so and so. And so when they get into the cryptocurrency space and they create their own crypto platforms or custody solutions, which is just another word for like a banking thing for you to be able to have your cryptocurrency on their platform, that they're going to try and have other platforms cannibalize themselves to be able to keep up. And that they're trying to push down Coinbase and Binance and Kraken and Bitfinex and so down into the ground so that they can kind of become the head things once again, so that it becomes another banking situation or that we've had before where pretty much you have to trust them with your money. This is where I think it's going, and I don't think I am large enough as a platform to be able to tell enough people that this is going to happen, but at least some people are here that that the way that crypto works, you can control your own crypto, you're in control of your own crypto, you can have your own private keys, buy a Nano, whatever the actual case might be, because there's been far too much talk from the G20 and the International Monetary Fund and a whole bunch of other stuff about them trying to figure out how to control it. And I have a feeling what they're leaning towards, the easiest thing for them, is to kind of make sure that the major platforms that are already, the trillion-dollar asset companies out there, to create their own crypto platforms, create their own crypto custody solutions, and eventually, thank you to them, for us to be able, that they'll eventually allow normal people to be able to put their crypto on their platforms as well. We're trusted, we're big, we're amazing, we're also put your money with us, but you'll have capital controls and you won't be able to use your money and you have to ask us for permission to be able to, it's kind of the same exact thing that we had before. It's bound to happen. I think too many people are very comfortable with the world as it is now, and even what it was, 2008, 2009. Anyway, let's move on to kind of finish things off. One of the world's largest consulting firms has released a new set of protocols for enabling private transactions atop the Ethereum blockchain. The project, known as Nightfall by Ernst & Young, was released on GitHub on Friday. The goal, according to the code's description on GitHub, is to provide a means for transacting on Ethereum with complete privacy. It states, Nightfall integrates a set of smart contracts and microservices and the ZK Snark toolkit to enable standard ERC20 and ERC721 tokens to be transacted on the Ethereum blockchain with complete privacy. It is an experimental solution and still being actively developed, end quote. As previously reported by CoinDesk, the freely available code is aiming at helping corporate Ernst & Young clients use the Ethereum blockchain for use cases that include supply chain management, food tracing, and transaction between different corporate branches. Like I said before, I think this is where, first of all, Ernst & Young is ginormous everywhere. They're one of the people kind of put, they're maybe not as big as Fidelity, but people still put them up on that pedestal. They're a very well-known name in the financial world. So the fact that they are openly announcing that they're going to be using Ethereum, and the other thing that this is what I also think is very important right here. I had to sneeze. Hey, wait. Okay, I was waiting for it to go away and it did. Good job. A lot of people seem to be putting the same kinds of things on the Ethereum blockchain, and this is where I think Ethereum is going as a system. As far as like governments writing laws, food tracing, there was another country who announced that they were going to be like tracking their corn and their wheat on Ethereum as well. So this is where I think all of that is kind of going. I think Ethereum is going to be at least in the next 2 years, kind of like the internet for food. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You kind of know what I'm saying. Like as far as like tracking, like things that corporations would normally do on their own systems, I feel like all of that is being transferred over to Ethereum. It's very fascinating to see all of these things happening so quickly and so out in the open. I just want a lot of them to be implemented. We talk about Ethereum a lot. a lot of the upgrades that they're going to get. There's at least 7, 8, 9, 10 private transaction things that have been proposed for Ethereum. I think at least 7 of them are still in production. 3 of them are maybe eventually, potentially one day we'll have them. I was hoping that by the end of this year, we would maybe have news that ZK Snarks or probably not Mimblewimble, that something else would be implemented on top of Ethereum. I think maybe we're about a year away, but at least we have these other things that are happening behind the scenes. Anyway, as always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Mechanic, Anthony Charles, Nick Mangialavori, Arthur Yaku, Minting Coins, Jim Gardner, Jeremy the Photographer, Sam, Siri, Vaseline, Paxis, Lead the Invalor, Vlad the Impaler, Cody, RF Dusty, Richie Rich III, Nick Kanaya, Setsuna, Nicholas, One Earth, One Piece, One Love, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Clara T. Snowden, Crypnotic, Jeffrey Ramsey, Amy Starsheen, Yasha Harari, Rai, Singer-Songwriter Mike Savitz, Carl Birchenoff, Mohair Maroney, Crypto Joe, Gilboa Snake, Shaolin Fried Rice, Wise Night Owl, Jared Schneider, L. Doug, Brady Niels, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, SC, Verzely Fine Art, and Professor Wally from Gunbot University. Thank you all very, very much for your support at the moment. Bitcoin is down a tiny bit, around 1.54%. XRP is up. I assume it's because of some of the news and the news that it's going to be used. Didn't mean to rhyme that. For some reason, SV is up almost 17%. When I had breakfast a couple hours ago, it was up around 11%. I assume some other ridiculous news that can be fact-checked in about 18 seconds was released. Who knows exactly what's going on at the moment. Cosmos is still up. Yeah. What else is there? A lot of and of course a lot of the stable coins are also moving up because the market's down. Anyway, I think that's going to, see, there we go right there. I think it's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I have a feeling we're going to have a very weird week. There were a lot of predictions for prices of things this week. Nothing too, absolutely crazy, but a lot of people think that some stuff may happen this week. Should history rhyme, as the saying goes. Thank you all once again for watching and listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.